stop. So that's what it means. Even though creditors cannot actually put lien against this person's property, they have to stop everything. So it includes perfecting their lien. Number 11, on affirmation, agreement is agreement whereby creditor agrees to discharge the debtor of certain debt. Now, affirmation, actually we haven't gone through affirmation. Affirmation is, let's say you want to keep your car. Now, even though you file your bankruptcy, you don't have to give up everything. Let's say you want to keep your car. Number 2, once you file your bankruptcy, nobody will give you credit card anymore. So you want to keep, let's say you have a 4 credit card, but you want to keep 1 credit card. Why? Because you're not going to get another credit card. After that, you're going to use only debit card. So what you do is you can tell bankruptcy court, I will continuously make monthly payment, monthly automobile loan payment to my automobile company. Then for this 1 credit card, I will pay monthly bill, right? Then you can choose certain loan that you are saying, I'm willing to pay for it, right? Then if you choose these 2, you have to notify to automobile bank and also your credit card company. Then they will ask you to sign certain form, say reaffirmation. What reaffirmation means, even though I filed bankruptcy, I promise you I will keep on paying yours. So that's called reaffirmation. So a lot of people, what happened is, now this is practical thing. Let's say my client wants to file bankruptcy, right? Normally I tell them to keep 1 credit card. Why? Because once he or she filed the bankruptcy, that person needs to rebuild his credit. Only way to rebuild his credit is when he complete, let's say he had balance of $4,000 in his credit card, right? Within 2 years, if he pay off this $4,000, his credit score, I'm not sure whether you guys, I think it does, you guys have also a credit score in your country? Yeah, many of them you don't, but Korea do nowadays. In this country, is every person have their personal credit score. It shows how reliable person you are. Now, if your credit score is more than, I think 70 or 700, then you can get any financing, or the credit card, or the Mercedes-Benz automobile willing to give you loan. But if your credit is below 600, you will have hard time to get financing from the bank. So this credit report is very tough thing, because many people, some people who does business, their business can go down anytime. So if you file bankruptcy, your score will go down way low. But if you pay off this $4,000, this credit score goes back to over 700. Then what happens? You can buy your house, you can buy your car. So that's more like plan. When somebody come into our attorney's office, that we give them this plan. Okay, we're gonna get rid of all these debt, but let's keep your 1 credit card so you can rebuild your credit. So after 2 years later, you can buy your house. So that's one of the. one thing go through. Where are we? Number 12. Liquidation is form of bankruptcy in which debtors exempt properties auction. Now, when we say exempt property, that means it's protected, so that's will not be liquidated. Anything other than exempt property, trustee has the right to sell it. So, 13, median income test. Now, there's a we talk about now this is after 2005 we talk about the law that was mostly for credit card. Now what happened was in this country in 2007 we have a recession, right? So too many people began to file bankruptcy. So government came up with this law, so-called median income test. Now question is this, you have job right now. You have job right now. Customer walked into my office and he said, I earn $3,000. Can I file bankruptcy? Answer could be maybe. Let's say even though the person has income, if his income cannot cover all his expenses, so which means income is less than his expenses, that means he has more expenses going out than his income, right? Then he can file bankruptcy. So it doesn't mean that he, even though he has some income, he still can file the bankruptcy. But median income test was that if the government came up with this test, what they're saying is if this person's income is higher than average income in the industry, he cannot file bankruptcy. His income, he may have a continuous income, but his income has to be lower than median income test. So, Seven said median income test is bankruptcy rule that states if the debtor's median family income is below the state median income or family size as debtor family, debtor can receive Chapter 7. So that's true. Now, Chapter 15 talk about Chapter 13. Now, just for information, there are two other types of bankruptcy. What we talked about so far is Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is individual bankruptcy. Chapter 11 is corporation bankruptcy. Chapter 13 is, now this is called individual liquidation because they're going to give up everything except exempt property. Chapter 13 is individual reorganization. Now, I told you the Virginia exemption amount is only 10,000 in Virginia. So in Virginia, it's hard for debtors to save their house because the Virginia state is willing to give only $10,000 break to debtors. Now, let me see. Did you get all the handout and everything?
One for me. Move it.
Make sure to.
One for me. One for me.
Oh, which one?
Both. Hand out.
Oh, was it?
Hand out.
That one.
Use hand.
Okay, everybody has to turn this in today.
Please, I have a question.
Yeah.
What option is the creditor when the debtor is written?
Oh,
When the debtor what?
Debt is written.
That
Extra?
is original,
Is written off.
regional,
Written out.
reaching out.
Council.
Oh,
How does it?
they cannot collect.
Oh,
They cannot collect.
Này vô phong lâu tu.
Yeah, so bankrupt, so
forfeited.
he needs the form.
which one?
Ờ,
This one?
dạ.
Okay, that's a good question because then question is, isn't that unfair?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Right
unfair?
of the,
I mean, is that unfair to business people?
like, nothing.
Nothing. You know, I worked for the bank. I worked for the bank when I was 20s, and bank has like they need to have some percentage of the loan. They need to estimate certain percentage of loan uncollectible. Normally, bank estimate 8%. Or when I was working for the bank,
Bad loan.
bad loan. Yeah, bad loan. So same for the credit card. You know, the bank just needs to calculate
They
that.
have provision for this bad loan.
Yeah, that's right. You know, so basically these are bad loans. They're gonna have to consider that as part of their business, although they're losing money. That's why a lot of credit card company actually do lobby, and they create this law 2005, or 20 people were misusing. So basically, under on question 15, under chapter 13 is reorganization of person's debt. Now, somebody who wants to keep their house, but like Virginia doesn't allow high exemption amount, they could apply for chapter 13. Chapter 13, what they're saying is, I wanna actually keep my house, but I cannot pay all the expenses right now. So I will pay only 1/3 of my expense for a while. Then after, I think I can be better positioned, let's say after 3 years. So normally bank will protect him for 3 years to pay only smaller percentage of his loan. In that way, a person can keep their property. But the only way, or the only person who can get, who's qualified for chapter 13 is somebody who has fixed income. Without fixed income, government say, well, you don't have fixed income, how do you know that within 3 years you can reestablish yourself? So a lot of, especially Koreans who file bankruptcy are the ones who do their own business. So then they are not qualified for chapter 13.
Who can file the bankruptcy? Or non-immigrant or only citizen?
Oh, that I have to look into it. Yeah, I think I don't think there is really any. No, even the non-immigrant. I mean, would say non-immigrants. Yeah. Even you are not permanently legally permanent. I believe you could still file bankruptcy. But yeah, I'm not sure. I have to look into it. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, and as long as you have your social security number, I think you can file bankruptcy. Because there are certain space that you have to fill in your social security number. But if you are not U.S. Permanent resident, you could still get your social security number. We call tax ID number from IRS. IRS issue your tax ID number. Then as long as you have tax ID number, you could still file bankruptcy. Okay, you know, like I said, I could go into more detail, but let's not, because you know, we are trying to cover too many things and we still have a real property to cover. Let's take a 30 minutes break. We'll come back. and will cover your problem.
Where did you go?
teach me the
Cannot remember for the revised.